Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am just so excited for this video today. We are doing a Q&A. I got so many comments on my TikTok video from last week where I played my Christmas extended excerpt, and thank you so much for your support. So I want to answer a lot of your questions today about that piece and that work, but also just my life in general as a musician and some of my background. But before we get into the video, if you don't mind and if you would like to, please subscribe and hit the notification button so you don't miss my videos, whether it's new music or tips on composing or just vlogs about my life, because I will be going to travel soon. I have a lot of things coming up, events, performances, so it would be awesome if you guys would subscribe and you don't miss those things. Okay, so we're gonna get into the Q&A. I have the questions right here on my phone, and let's get them answered for you. Here is the first question. Can you please compose music for my film and TV projects one day? Yes, I can. Girl, just send me an email, send my manager an email. I don't know if you're like a student right now. I have worked with students in the past. Right now I'm working with mainly professionals. But please send an email if I can be a mentor or anything like that. Like, I want to help out. So yeah, I definitely want to compose for films. I've actually done that. I'm in the process of doing that now. So I love film music. That was actually what got me into composing, really, or part of it. Really, it was Broadway, even though I have yet to write a musical. I did write an opera, but Broadway, when I saw the behind the scenes of Shrek the Musical, I was like, I have to do composing. Like, who is this woman that's writing music and how can I be like her? So that's what got me into composing in the first place. I had always been a songwriter, but composing was a little different. It was actually notating music and writing the notes and the instruments behind it, like the orchestral music. So film music, you know, does that a lot, right? So that's what got me into film music. Okay, do you like Studio Ghibli movie soundtracks? If I'm pronouncing that wrong, somebody do a video or something, send me a DM pronouncing it for me, because I had not heard of that until TikTok, until I posted my video. Like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I posted a video of Christmas Extended, and people were saying it sounded like it came from Studio Ghibli. If I'm not pronouncing that right, again, I am so sorry. I haven't been huge into anime. I've always had an appreciation for it, but I didn't really watch it. But I actually watched Spirited Away like 2 weekends ago or something, like 2 weeks ago, and I absolutely loved it. The music was beautiful, the story was so touching, and I want to actually watch more. So if you want to recommend any Studio Ghibli movies or just anime in general that you think I would like, tell me in the comments. I did really love Neo Yokio, which had Jaden Smith in it. I loved that show and I wish it would come back. I think it had like 2 seasons and I absolutely loved it. It was just so cool. Okay, so next question. Did you ever compare your music to other composers? How do I stop doing this? I think we're always going to compare ourselves. I think it's human nature. But I do think at a certain point, why are you comparing? Is it because you don't feel like your music is at a certain level that you wish it was? Is it because you aren't feeling good enough? I think those are also very human reactions. But in terms of comparing and did I ever do it, of course I did. I used to compare my music to people I was in school with. A lot of my male counterparts who I felt like got more attention or anything like that. And I was like, oh, their music is sounding like this, and why isn't mine sounding like that? Or they're writing more music that sounds, you know, more atonal, or it's just more avant-garde basically, or just, you know, I was just really interested in writing beautiful tonal melodic music, and I think in a lot of ways I still am. And so I think sometimes you have to stop comparing yourself and realize we are all on our own journeys. You know, if I continue to try to be like someone else, or to try to be like that person in my class or in my studio who is writing that certain type of music that I truthfully wasn't interested in writing, but yet I tried to change myself to write like that, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't have gained the experiences that I've gained today, because I would have been not being true to myself and the music that I really loved. So even if what you're writing right now if it's not being celebrated by your teacher or being celebrated by your colleagues or anything like that, or even by your friends, just know that that's normal. It happens to everyone, I think. We all have different musical tastes, so write what you love. That would be my biggest advice on how to stop comparing yourself. If anything, try to find a composer that's out there who writes music that does sound similar to yours, even if it's not exactly like yours. For me, that was Philip Glass. So Philip Glass, he's like in his 80s now, but he was one of the composers that was really known for minimalist music or minimalism, and I loved his music because it reminded me of songs that I was writing when I was like in high school. I wrote a lot of chord progressions for my songs. They weren't through composed. They were basically like, you know, a song that you hear on the radio or something, and his music to me sounded like that, but on a higher level almost. Like, I knew it was deeper than just that, but that's what made me fall in love with his music so much. It's just very complex, even though it may seem simple on the surface, and that's just a metaphor for, I think, how I view myself in general. Like, to some people I may come off like I'm just one thing, or I'm just a Miss America, or just a musician, but I am so much more than that. I'm a sister, I'm a daughter, I'm a friend, I'm a Christian. So there's so many layers to me, and that's why I think we may see certain things on the surface, but there's much more there, and that's why I love his music. So try to find somebody that you really relate to, whether it's musically or just kind of intellectually. You kind of get what they're trying to do, where they're going. That would be my advice, to try to stop comparing yourself, especially in such a negative way. Okay, next question. Where did you get the inspiration for your new piece? Okay, so basically in October of 2019, I think it was right around October, the Dallas Symphony confirmed that they did want to move forward with this concert they were planning, and basically I got to writing as soon as I could. It might have even been, it was October. That was when everything got kind of locked in. So I knew that the deadline was December 1st, so I just started writing immediately, trying to think of different ideas. Like, I was doing like a lot of like sketches basically. So if you're an artist, if you're a visual artist, you might sketch a rose or something, or sketch these different things until you start really going into what you're really going to draw. So I was sketching different things, but then there was this bass line that came to me, and this chord progression also, and the bass line was like, I just fell in love with that chord progression. I feel like I had never, actually there was one other time where I was writing for a larger ensemble and the basses were there and they were important for this one section of the opera that I wrote, but I never wrote a piece where the bass line was so important. And I honestly don't think I had written for a lot of bass. I hadn't written for basses that much, really. I just knew I wanted it to be a celebration of Black culture after all that we had dealt with in 2020. And I kind of was even thinking about Black women in general too, because of, you know, there's a quote from Malcolm X that the most disrespected person in America is Black women, or is the Black woman. So I was just thinking about that, being a Black woman and being someone who is a minority in my field, both as a woman and both as a person of color. And I kind of get emotional just talking about it because, you know, I didn't have those examples, people that looked like me, up until recently. I'm just starting to see people and meet people that look like me in this field. And even then, it is still scarce. So I just wanted to write something that felt like a celebration of that, of who I am and all the other Black women out there that maybe feel the same in their own fields and just in this country in general. So that jazz influence that you might hear, there's like a lot of seventh chords and things like that in the music. That's very central to jazz, and I wanted to celebrate that. I wanted to bring that to light on an orchestral and in a classical space. So the next question is, what inspires you? That would have to be my family. They are just so supportive. My parents, my mom, she's my biggest fan. I have a younger sister who's 2 years younger than me and a younger brother who's 6 years younger than me. They inspire me because I know they look up to me, and I feel that kind of pressure sometimes to to be successful so they can see me doing that as the oldest sibling. I don't know what it is about that. If you're an older sibling, you just know how that feels. But I love being that support for them in any way I can, and they just inspire me so much. This next question is a pretty big one. I've been asked it so many times, but it's when is your piece coming to Spotify? So there are some things right now I'm trying to decide. I know that people are like really wanting the song to come out. Chrysalis Extended, I just want to be thoughtful about releasing it, but knowing that there are so many people who it touched and who got something out of it. People were telling me they cried. People were telling me it helped with their anxiety. So many great things. That does motivate me to put it out sooner. Yeah, that's where we are on that, but I do want to put it out soon. So just stay tuned. It's a journey. But I have other music that'll be coming out too, just different projects I'm working on. So stay tuned for more music. Regardless. So those questions were all from my Instagram, which if you want to follow my Instagram, it is Nia Imani Franklin. Go follow. But I had some questions from TikTok as well. I actually went live, and this is a combination of questions from a live that I did that I was like, hey, give me questions to answer on my next YouTube video. And I have a few questions that are from like comments. It was a lot of comments to go through, so I got what I could. So this question is, this is beautiful. How do composers write out their music? Do you hear it in your head and write out each instrument? And that was basically it. Like there's not much to answer here. So you have flute, oboe, clarinet, violins, the bass, you have bassoon, all these different instruments, vibraphone, cello, and you write out their line in this huge score. Let me get it actually. This is actually the score from Chrysalis Extended. As you can see here on the first page, you have the flutes over there. When you're done, you basically separate all that and make it into a part for each instrument. So the flutes don't have to look at that whole big sheet of paper. They just are looking at their part. The cello, they're just looking at their part. The conductor looks at this full score because they need to know what's going on, but you just have to know how to count. That's why people go to school for this and spend money on tuition and all this kind of stuff, so they can know, like, they can be a good enough musician to follow their part. Because if you had to turn all those pages, like, while you're trying to play your instrument, that would be a lot. So that's basically how that works. Someone asked, when did I start to play music? I started to play music probably when I was like, I don't know, sometime in middle school, I think is when I started taking piano lessons. I had always been a singer, but I started taking lessons in probably middle school, on and off. I was taking actual piano lessons, learning to read music. My piano teacher left town. She like moved away to Atlanta. So then I just like was on my own, and I started learning to read music on my own and like playing by ear. My grandmother gave me my very first piano, my only piano. I have keyboards and stuff, but I have like an actual real piano that she gave me, and it was a piano that her mom helped her to buy when my dad was younger, and she wanted all of his siblings and everybody to learn how to play piano, and none of them cared to. So the piano just was like sitting around for all these years, and finally like she found out, her granddaughter was interested in music, and that's when she gave it to me, and it really inspired me. So I started learning to write songs using the piano, and that was just an amazing feeling. Because before I had the piano, I would just write songs, and like it would just be a song with no instruments. Really. So yeah, that was a big inspiration for me and a big like motivator for me to have that piano, like to have a real instrument in my home. Like, what? Crazy. When will you be able to get your music on Spotify? Soon. Most valuable lessons you've learned about music. That one is very broad, but I have to say, just keep going, keep doing it. Like, I'm a huge believer in like using the talent that God gave you. I think if you try to say, oh, I'm not good enough, or oh, I don't have this perfect, then yeah, you never will be. You never will get anything. You never will go far. But if you take the little that you know and just work with it, take what God gave you and work with it. Like, there's a scripture about how God gave people talents, and 2 of them went and used their talents, and then one person was like, oh, I'm just gonna put mine to the side because I only got 1. And it's like, no, like even if you have 1, that is something that God gave you. Use it. I firmly believe that. So that's the biggest lesson that I would have to say I've learned. Not doubting myself or saying, oh, I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to do this, I'll just not worry about it. If I had that mindset, I would have never went to school, because I had to like bust my tail to learn how to not only read music, but also start learning how to sing opera, because with all the schools I applied to in North Carolina, I actually had to be able to have an instrument. I just wanted to write music in a broad sense, and that was what I cared about, and singing is my first love. So I had to learn how to sing opera because that was the style that they wanted you to sing in when you were a student. So I had to learn, but I had a little bit to work with because I already knew how to sing, and I decided just to try to develop that and get a teacher, and that's what I did. So use what you have and keep going with it. Don't doubt yourself. Just do the best you can with what you have, whatever that is. Don't think it's too small to do something with. This next question is, do you have a different mindset when composing different genres? And I would have to say no. I think my goal is just always to write beautiful music that people can connect with, whether it's writing a song that's like has sexy lyrics and I want that person listening to it, that woman listening to it, to feel sexy. Even writing Chrysalis Extended, I was like, I want this certain part, like it feels sexy to me. Whether it's to make you think about something differently, to open your mind to something new, a new thought, to be open-minded about something, or whether it's to just have a song that makes you feel good in general, or something that is supposed to be a little more sad. There's all these different moods that can come into play, but I think I like melodic music, I like rhythmic music sometimes. I think it can sometimes just depend on the mood that I'm in or what the purpose of the piece is for. If it is for film or if it is for just a special occasion, whatever it is, like that's my goal. But the mindset is just always to write music the best way that I can, I think. Yeah. Okay, well, I hope this was a good Q&A. I would love to do more of these, so keep the questions coming. This was really fun, so thank you so much for tuning in and subscribing and just being a part of the journey and the family. You know, this is a Chrysalis fam, guys. This is a Chrysalis crew, okay? Actually, yeah, this is a Chrysalis crew, okay? You heard it here first. All right, so thank you guys for watching so much. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.